Greetings, welcome to another episode of Man Cave Meals. Today we're going to get started on another project for review with the Kamado Joe grill. We're going to cook some artisan bread on the grill, and we're going to get started by making up a batch of dough using the artisan bread and 5 minutes a day technique. So let's get started. Okay, we're going to start our dough process with 1.5 tablespoons of instant yeast, which also equates to 15 grams, 1.5 tablespoons of kosher salt, which works out to 25 grams, and then 3 cups or 700 grams of lukewarm water. This water is at 95 degrees, so we're going to pour that in. We're going to stir it up just a little to get our yeast clumps broken up. It's not very important to actually do that step. Then we're going to add our flour, which is 6.5 cups or 975 grams. I think I weighed that out to be. We're going to dump all that. We're going to dump half of this in first. And then we're just going to use the wooden spoon and stir that up. We'll get that mixed up good. Then we'll dump the rest of our flour in and stir that until it's completely mixed. Okay, we're not going to knead this dough, and it is going to be wet and sticky. So we're just going to scrape what's on the spoon off and put it in a container. The container I have here is a 6-quart container, and you need at least a 5-quart container to do this. So we're just going to set the lid on it loosely and let that rise for 2 hours, and then we'll be back. Okay, I let this rise in here for about 3 hours, and it's well better than doubled in size. So the theory behind this artisan bread in 5 minutes a day is that you make larger batches of dough and just pull dough out as you need it to cook. So what we do now is we just put that in the refrigerator and let it live there until we are ready to make the dough. So this is actually going into my refrigerator overnight, and I'm going to cook these baguettes tomorrow. We're going to fire up the Kamado grills tomorrow, and we're going to cook some bread, so we'll be back. Okay, we're going to get started making our bread loaf. I've got my cutting board out here. I've got it dusted with flour. I've pulled out a 1-pound ball of our dough from the refrigerator, and we're just going to turn it and work it in just like this for about 30 seconds or so. We're going to get a little flour on top. Just as we're finishing up turning our dough, I've got my pizza peel out here, and I've got it coated with cornmeal. So what we're going to do now is just set this right on top of the cornmeal. We're going to let it rest for 40 minutes, and I'm going to sprinkle a fairly liberal dose of flour right on top of that. And we're going to let that sit for 40 minutes to rest. Okay, this loaf's been resting for just about 40 minutes. So what we're going to do is take a serrated knife, and we're going to score the top of the loaf just with an X pattern. And we're going to take it out, get it ready to get on the grill. This 1-pound loaf's a little small, so while we're cooking it, I'm going to get a 2-pound loaf ready, and we'll cook it as well. So let's go get this guy on the grill. Okay, we've got our grill heated up to 450. I've got a measuring cup of water in there to create a little bit of steam. We're going to put some cornmeal down on our pizza stone, and then we're going to slide this loaf of bread right onto the stone, close the grill up, and cook it for about 30 minutes or so. So we'll be back to have a look when it's done. Okay, I believe our bread is ready. Looks pretty good. It puffed up nicely. It puffed up a little bigger than I expected it would. So It's not quite as brown on the top as I'd like it. We probably didn't cook it quite high enough a temperature. I didn't get back up to 450 during this. So I'm going to take this off. We'll let it cool and then we'll slice into it. Okay, I've made a larger loaf. We're going to toss it on here and let it cook. Kind of misshaped that one just a little bit, but we'll let it cook and be back to see what she looks like when it's done. Okay, here's our second loaf of bread. It's a good bit larger than the first, and it's a little bit browner, cooking at the higher temperature. I did keep this one up around 450. I'm thinking that we may need to do something a little different on the grill to get what we've got going on. One of the other things I've noticed is the scores that I cut in the top of this don't hold up as well in the Kamado. I'm going to have to try it in the oven to see how that pans out from there. But here's our second finished loaf, so we'll let it cool along with our first loaf, and we'll be back to slice into them shortly. Okay, I took the liberty of slicing into this first loaf of bread here. It looks really good and it smells really good. It's got a nice texture to it. It's really soft. This crust, after the bread's rested for a while, is not very hard at all. It's looking real good. I'm going to have a quick taste of it here. That tastes really good. I think I'm going to take 2 slices of that and make a sandwich with it and see how it goes from there. And I still haven't cut into the larger loaf yet, but everything looks pretty good here. It's not bad for a novice bread maker, so you'll be seeing some more of this down the road. Until next time, Man Cave Meals.